Now I request Rotarian Kaustav Chakravarti to introduce his and Dr. Geetha Bhat.
The appropriate introduction is that I am the proud husband of Dr. Geetha Bhat. Dr. Geetha Bhat is a versatile personality. She is a child adolescent psychologist, Vainika, which is a Veena, as well as a vocal artist, and a music therapist. Dr. Geetha was initiated into the field of Carnatic music at the age of 5 and took forth to pursue her musical skills through the Veena, which is also known as the Rajavati. And if you look at the history of the Veena, it has been in Indian culture for thousands of years. She is the blessed disciple of Guru Srimati Jnanamba, Guru Sri R.K. Srinivasmurthy, Guru Srimati E.P. Alamelu, and Guru Sri R.R. Keshav.
Kaustavji, sorry to interrupt. Can you keep the microphone a little closer? We can barely hear you. The microphone.
Can you hear me? Is it better now?
Yeah. Now it's better, yes. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And she has been enthralling audiences right from her full-fledged first performance in 1994. And a panorama of research and achievements in the field of neuromusicology further emphasizes her intense devotion and dedication to this extensive and rich heritage of Carnatic classical art music. In addition to having a master's in computer science and master's in child psychology, she was awarded her doctorate for her exclusive research conducted on the effects and benefits of sound, classical music, and rhythm on the brain in her study Neuromusicology and the Therapeutic Powers of Sound and Classical Music, awarded to her at the age of 29. Her study emphasizes the relationship of musical activities in the brain and its benefits in stimulating not only motor therapy, speech and language therapy, but also pain management, cognitive rehabilitation in areas of memory, affects function and attention. And she has been the forerunner to create a niche platform for young music therapy aspirants to reinvent music towards holistic health and transformation based on scientific research. She has successfully implemented music therapy as a positive and alternative mode of therapeutic interventions across various neurological impairments like multiple sclerosis, autism, cerebral palsy, traumatic brain injury, and across various disorders and disabilities like Down syndrome, dyslexia, intellectual impairments, emotional disorders, etc. And she has also extended her music therapy inventions to cancer survivors and cancer patients at the Site Care Cancer Hospital and Karunashvaya at Bangalore. Her articles on education, psychology, and music have been published by leading newspapers such as the Indian Express, Times of India, Deccan Herald, Prajavani, Vijay Times, Bangalore Mirror, and in magazines like Kala Sinchana from Ananya, the first melody from Bharatiya Samagana Sabha, some yoga from Ranjani Fine Arts, and so on and so forth. Her knowledge sharing talks and presentations at various schools and colleges, Academy of Music, Chowdaya Memorial Hall, Idea Conclave at Bharati Vidya Bhavan, TEDx talk at Jain, deemed to be university, Site Care Cancer Hospital, etc., have also helped in spreading this knowledge and gained a lot of appreciation. And she has also created awareness on sensitization programs on child safety, abuse alertness, parenting and counseling for slum children, rural and backward children, and so on and so forth. She has also been interviewed on various radio as well as TV channels such as Doordarshan, Udaya TV, Ayush, and FM Rainbow and All India Radio and so on. She is associated with various NGOs catering to autism and related development disabilities in children as well as adults. So with this, I'm very proud to introduce my dear wife and the eminent speaker today, Dr. Geetha R.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So Dr. Bhat, the stage is yours.
Yeah, thank you. Before I share the screen for today's presentation, my sincere thanks and a heartfelt gratitude for the entire Rotary team and the main Rotary organizations which have joined in today. Given the time frame, I will be just touching on where music is actually heading to in the current scenario. I will have to hold on the videos, and based on time permitting, I will definitely show you the case studies too. Yeah, and with your permission, I will go ahead and share the screen. Thank you.
Hi, Geetha.
Vanakkam, Mami.
Vanakkam, all the best.
Thank you.
All the best, all the best.
Is the screen visible, please?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, it is.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, yes, yes.
So we all know that we are born rhythmical. We are born out of our mother's pulse and heartbeats. So obviously, there is a rhythmic sense in our body. Very often we find ourselves either clapping our hands to some tune or tapping our feet to some tune, or we are just excited with the birds chirping in the morning, or the rainwater splashing on the tent sheets, etc. Each of us have our own taste in music. Today, we just try and understand how this is taken as an alternative therapy form across various ailments. So when we talk about music, predominantly since I'm trained in Carnatic music, I dwell on Carnatic music. My core focus area will be Indian music therapy, that is healing through the Indian ragas, the rasas, etc. But I'm not against any other genre of music, because I'm very passionate about Western music too. But unfortunately, I'm not trained in that, so I cannot speak much about that. So we have a 3,000 odd year-old Indian genre of music, which dates back right from the Brahmana period. That is the age of the Samhitas, moving on to the Vedas, and then the Ramayana period, and then the Puranas, and right up to the great compositions given by our trinities, Sri Tyagaraja, Muthuswami Dikshitar, and Sri Shyama Shastri. And of course, we are all very much aware of the Dasa Sahitya. We have Kanakadasaru, we have Purandaradasa, where they try to reach out music to the common folk through simple verses, or I would rather call them as paracetamols or capsules, to heal the self. There are a lot of references throughout this 3,000 odd period, where music has been significantly used for healing purposes. So what is this healing of music or music therapy that we are trying to understand? It basically means that when we are trying to achieve a cognitive goal, or it could be a psychological goal, it could be a developmental goal, it could be a communication goal. In most of the children I work with, especially those with neurobiological disorders, there is either a problem in the receptive communication or the expressive communication. Sometimes they want to say something, but the words do not come out. There could be an auditory motor issue also. So there could be a communication goal that we are addressing. It could be psychosocial goals, typically mental health problems that we are trying to reach out, especially now in times of pandemic. Each of us are in a panic mode because we do not know when the pandemic is going to end. So can music be used? In fact, I had spoken about this in one of the FM Rainbow talks across 20-minute program as to how music can be used as a healer, especially in children and senior citizens. And then there are social goals, then there are behavioral goals. There are those children who have sensory issues, and they could show a lot of behavioral problems due to these sensory triggers that they are getting from their environment. So can music help these children attain their goals? So basically, we are trying to formulate a goal and use music to heal and reach that goal through a proper intervention plan. Now, this has to be done by a qualified professional. Of course, in India, we still do not have a certification for these professionals, but abroad is doing it in a big way through various therapeutic organizations, and that's how it's become an alternative therapy across the world. But the minimum qualification that is recommended is at least a psychology degree. And yeah, you don't have to know depths of music to do music therapy, but you need to understand your client in a good way. So we are basically trying to reach out from a traditional listening of music to what I would say is clinical music therapy or neurological music therapy. That is seeing the positive reactions of the brain or feeling the brain's reactions. Obviously, we cannot be running to the clinics to keep testing ourselves whether this amount of hormone is released, this is not released, etc. But we can feel from inside. So whether on a belief system or a science system, music definitely heals from inside. We will go through this slide a little later in depth. Now, the first and foremost is we need to understand how important music learning is in a child. Right from the time the child is in the fetus. If you notice on the slide, you see the synapses that are formed. Initially, the baby has billions of cells, which slowly forms its connections due to the observation and environmental learning. And by 9th month, if you notice, the number of synapses keeps increasing. And then 2 years, you have more synapses. And finally, the adult phase. Now, it is at this time that we need to give babies a good, strong foundation in our roots. It could be anything. It could be either music, it could be dance, it could be just a passive listening of our own culture, that is listening to Veda mantras. I mean, if people believe in it. And you know, once this is done, there are pathways created in the brain, which forms a strong foundation for the future learning of that particular child. And typically children who have been exposed to music, in fact, right from the fetal stage, you can also see them showing very high order thinking skills in the future as it turn on to the adult phase. Now, when does a fetus actually respond to music? It's believed that by the 24th to 26th week of pregnancy, the fetus actually starts getting the vibrations of sounds from the parents and the nearby environment. Now, the sound that is heard by the fetus may not be exactly the same as what is produced outside, but there is sufficient stimulation in the womb, and this actually forms a foundation for later cognition, learning, and behavior. Now, if music learning can happen throughout the child's developmental phases, it's a very big bonus for the child. Unfortunately, when the child moves on from the primary school years to the teenage phase, we see many parents pulling out their children from music education itself. Now, this is the time when both pre-adolescents and adolescents, they need a kind of coping strategy. They cannot keep conveying their emotions and talking out to their parents. Their best friends are their peers, and they also need a connection to feel their own emotions and to understand themselves. So this is the time we actually need music for teenagers. So music, if it's carried on throughout your life, well and good. Even passive listening has its own cognitive benefits, which we will do at a later stage. But yeah, so this is a huge topic, you know, building a baby's brain and the significance of music through the child's development is a very important topic which we do across a two days program. I will move on to the next slide, but just know that it's very important for a child to get his stimulations as early as possible. Typically, by around 2 years, if the child is introduced to listening to music and then formalized at around 6 or 7, it gives a very good foundation for the child for a later period of time.
Yes, we can hear you now.
Is it at the same frequency with the earphones?
Yes, your voice is quite clear.
Okay, okay. So music is a whole brain activity. Now, entire music.
Sorry, Dr. Geetha, I think there is a problem with the microphone. Your voice is...
It's breaking?
Yeah, breaking a little bit. My headphone was clear.
Okay. Is it clear now?
Yeah.
Yes,
Sorry.
now it's clear.
Yeah. All right, all right. Okay, and because of too many classes and case hearings, I would like to be off from the earphones once in a while. So I just try to communicate directly. No problem. I'll wear and I will do my session. Not a problem. Yeah. So music is actually a whole brain activity. It's processed both in the left and the right brain. Now, as we all know, music has a rhythm component and there is also a raga and a rasa component. That is an emotional component and the melody component. So now, if you notice the slide, the vocabulary of music, an element called the vocabulary of music comes from the left side of the brain. And your ragas, your expressions, your bhava or your rasas, the emotions that you are trying to convey to an audience or to a client, it all comes from the right side of the brain. Similarly, the rhythm, the math component, that's what we call in Carnatic music. Rhythm cycles are nothing but math components which come from the left brain. So when we are actually trying to sing a composition like Ramachandram Rajivaksham Shyamalangam Shashwata Kirtim Komalahastam Koshalarajam. When we sing a composition like this, there is a rhythm aspect. Ramachandram Rajivaksham 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and we follow on this cycle. It's nothing but pure math. Of course, there is an advanced side of this also. Why take a Carnatic composition? Even a composition like do, a deer, a female deer, ray, a drop of golden sun, me, and him, I call myself, far, a long, long way to run. That also has rhythm. So the rhythm goes to the left side while the melody is processed in the right side. So now this whole process is a whole brain activity. The reason I'm doing this slide is to a neurotypical child or a normal child or a normal individual, it's easy to process all these together. But when it comes to children with special needs, especially the Down syndrome or the cerebral palsy or the autistic children, this processing doesn't happen as a whole brain activity. Either we have to move out the therapy sessions through rhythm, sometimes only through melody and ragas. Sometimes they are just non-verbal, they're not able to speak, they just like listening to music. And we are just trying to improve their sitting tolerance. So in that case, we just have to sing to them, but there might be no response because they are non-verbal children. So that's the reason I did this slide. Now to understand this in a much better way, suppose we take an instrument like a guitar or a Veena. How is music a multisensory activity? If you take a Veena, the right side, we are plucking the strings, and the left side, we are moving across the frets. So the entire tactile system is awake. And then your kinesthetic system is awake, because on one side, you're holding the Veena, and the other side, again, you're plucking and moving the wrists together. The kinesthetic system is awake. Then your entire auditory system is awake. This is a beautiful system. The auditory visual coordination is very beautiful. One is the auditory system is trying to understand what the teacher is trying to produce and trying to produce the same sound. Then there is a multisensory feedback also going on, finding out whether I have produced the right sound or not. And then this is again connected to the visual system, those children who can read compositions and simultaneously play along with it. So look at the beautiful process, how nice it is. It's a completely multisensory activity. Now this is again important because some of our special needs children cannot read, but they can be exceptional in music. They have an innate and acute sense for music, which we will see in the further slides. So right now from this slide, we just need to understand that music is a whole brain activity and a multisensory experience. So this is what cognitive neuroscience of music has to tell us. These are the different areas of the brain. So when we are actually listening to music or making music or learning music, be it the prefrontal cortex, your motor cortex, your corpus callosum, your cerebellum, your hippocampus, auditory cortex, sensory cortex, anything, they're all firing at the same point of time. That's how powerful music is. It activates all those areas. Now, it is through this that we work with special needs children. Very often I have parents coming to me saying autistic children do not have emotions. No, they show me the best emotions. They might not show it to their parents, but to me, they show me the best emotions. They might, I personally don't know how I do this with my students, but these are the first, I would say, my first doctors who call on me when I am sick. They are the ones who call on me. Then comes my parents, then come my children, and then my husband to check on me when I have fever. So if you say AST children do not have emotions, sorry, I don't listen to it at all. There is a connection. We need to build a connection. Of course, AST children with associated conditions and other symptoms, yes, there might be a problem to connect with them, but not all special needs children fall under this category. We need to break out that path for them to connect to us. This is a very important slide because this slide helps us understand neuroplasticity in the future slides across dementia and Alzheimer patients. So the memories which are enhanced by music are procedural and declarative memories. Now, what is this procedural memory? Procedural memory is basically all the skills that you learn, that is learning to play an instrument, learning a particular raga, learning your alphabets, learning manodharma, that is creative music, learning to drive a car. All these are skill sets that we drive during different phases of our life. And these can be recalled very easily at a later point of time as we head on with our life. Now, declarative memory are those, we call it as the episodic memories also. Typically, memory of facts and events. How many of us still remember our first landline numbers and our first bank account numbers? Yes? Yes, very few of us. But do you, can our children remember that? No, because we are so prone to the gadgets, and unfortunately that has become our extended memory and part of our life. It is a family member. We cannot neglect it. And thank God it has no emotions. Okay. Yeah. So declarative memory, we can have good memories and bad memories also recalled through declarative memories. Now, typically you would have seen in certain concerts, we have some senior citizens crying out through the concerts. It could be even through divine ecstasy, or they could be recalling some event, some traumatic event, which is right there at the tip of the iceberg, which they would like to break out. So these episodes are connected very quickly through music. So either they are venting out through music or they're experiencing the rasas in the full potential. Now, why am I doing this slide? In case of Alzheimer patients, if you notice, there is something in the yellow. As the cognitive function declines over a period of time in the future years, they can still be very good on these skills. I know of some of my clients who can still play very good orchestra music, who are still very good on violin, but they cannot recognize their children or their wives or their family members. Okay. Now, this is very important for rehabilitation of these individuals to still have meaning in their life. They don't have to recall their memory with respect to their family members. It may not come back. But if you can give them meaning to their life to help them practice through a music instrument or through art or through painting in their future years, it's something amazing that we are doing for them. There are a lot of cases, such cases that I'm dealing with currently, who are all in old age homes and old age communities. And this is working very well. Whatever they have learned in their early age, they try to work on it, they are able to recall, and they start practicing on it. But yes, they fail back on recognizing their family members. A small example of this is, suppose there's a composition like Shakti Sahita Ganapatim Shankara Sevitam. This is in Raga Shankarabharana, and I'm singing in Raga Shankarabharana. Now, trying to sing in Raga Shankarabharana is a skill. And then comes the Tala and other things. But knowing that this belongs to a family called Shankarabharana goes into the declarative memory. So if I say, do, a deer, a female deer, ray, a drop of golden sun is also Shankarabharana, that comes from my declarative memory. I hope I'm making sense to everybody. Yeah. So, yeah, so basically both the memories are enhanced. We now move on to the different music learning processes which actually assist in music cognition. Now, for neurotypical children and individuals, this could be very easy in certain cases, or even if music is not in the genes, it can still be embedded in their system. And all these have a neurological basis, that is recognizing absolute pitch. Pitch is nothing but a shruti. Then the whole process, the identification, pitch processing, pitch discrimination, that's a huge cognitive process. Then melody identification, identification of ragas, just like what I did with Shankarabharanam. Relating different ragas across the different genres of music, processing of the melody, Then rhythm identification. What is a rhythm which sits in a particular composition? Which beat is it? And how many counts do we have in that beat? All those. Then the tonality of music. Now this is very important. Tonality is very important, especially with special needs, because some of ASD children, they are hypersensitive to sound. So we have to tone in to their requirement. We cannot use high frequencies with them. We cannot use high pitches with them. They start screeching, they close their ears, they run away, and they start running in circles because they get triggered. For them, the frequency that they hear at is 100 times more than what we hear. So we have to tune into their needs. So we cannot just raise our voice and say, you better sing. It's not possible. So we have, and it also for us as musicians, when we perform across stages, we need to tune in to what the audience requires. In a Rajyotsava program, I cannot play a Ragam Tanam Pallavi, or I cannot play a Varnam in 3 speeds. It doesn't make sense. I can do it in a Sabha concert. So we need to tune into the requirements of the clients always. And then comes the auditory motor control, that is the entire sequence of the tala, the timing, sequencing, the spatial organization of the rhythmic process. Then comes music vocabulary. Children with Down syndrome, they don't have clarity of speech, but still we make them sing, hoping that that clarity would come someday, or at least they are able to convey some kind of requirement, a basic need to their parents. And then comes in ragas and rasas. What emotion you give to a child. For a schizophrenic child, I cannot go and give her a pathos emotion. I cannot give her something like Janana Marana Bhaya Shoka Vidhuru Janana Marana Bhaya. I cannot, because these kids have suicidal symptoms. I have to give them an emotion called Shringara, love and compassion, a Gambhira Rasa. I cannot give any negative rasa to these children. So we need to know what emotions we are conveying to a special needs child or across a patient or a client. And then of course, memory retention, just like I told you in case of Alzheimer's, especially the progressive memory, it could be a very strong component for all of us, in fact, because we are also heading there. For Alzheimer patients, it could be a great deal of skill orientation at a later part of life. So I'm not going to dwell on this slide because it will take a very long time. These are the different forms of music therapy currently followed in India. Traditional music, by traditional music, I mean people practicing traditional music and also listening, just a shravanam. Just listening also has enough cognitive benefits. You can feel from inside. Then raga therapy, which has taken a form of abundance, but frankly speaking, I do not believe much in it because it is individualistic to the individual and also situational. Of course, you can raise questions at a later point of time. Rasa therapy is what I use across my clients because I convey only through emotions. Nada Yoga is where we energize the chakras through the Sapta Swaras. And sound healing is where we use natural sounds like a typical bird sounds, bell sounds, temple bells, chimes, such instruments that the Tibetan bowls, which we use on children. Rhythm therapy is typically the Konnakol verses or even Swara patterns. Sariga, sarigama, sarigama, sarigama vada, sarigama vadani, sari sariga rigama gama pama vadapa, sariga rigama gama pama vadapa. Some patterns that helps cerebral palsy and Down syndrome children to improve their auditory motor control. And of course, finally, the clinical music therapy or neurological music therapy, which is used in hospital settings currently. before a surgery and after a surgery. This is to level the stress hormones, where pure classical music is played across to the patients before and after the surgeries. Okay, this is a self-explanatory slide. I'm sure most of you are yoga practitioners, so you should be knowing this. Only thing is, when you know the chakras, we also need to know that each of these chakra has a swara which relates to it. Shadjam Shadjam means sa, which relates to the Mooladhara chakra, Ri to the Swadhisthana chakra, Ga to Manipuraka, and so on. So the Sapta Swaras relate to the 7 chakras of our body. And sometimes in children who do not have sitting tolerance even for 2 minutes, we are just doing a chanting of the Sapta Swaras in different ragas. We start from Maya Malava Gaula. We keep chanting this to first connect, and this would go on even for 6 months. And then they start breaking out. Then their interest starts developing. They get into a routine, their tolerance improves, and then they start learning compositions. So where exactly is music therapy used in the current scenario? As you know, Down syndrome is a chromosomal abnormality. I'm sure most of you have come across these children. And one of the most important therapies for these children is auditory therapy. If you have noticed, most of the Down syndrome children have a lag in their communication because they need that kind of time for the processing to happen. The integration takes that much time in their brains. So we use a lot of rhythmic patterns with these children. And these children can either be very shy and sometimes very stubborn also. They know everything, but they can be very stubborn also. They might be very reluctant to sing, but they are a great lot, and you can, up to 90%, you can try to achieve normalcy with these children. We have very good Down syndrome children. I'm doing very well in Special Olympics now, and across art, across music, they're doing exceptionally well. I will avoid the videos now. We can probably come back to it later. I hope it's okay with all of you. Yeah?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. And next is all these kids who have a sensory processing disorder. These are typically children with autism, Asperger's syndrome, then cerebral palsy, and other neurobiological disorders. So these are children with sensory integration issues, sensory processing issues, then hyperacuteness, hypersensitivities. So, and they can be triggered through a lot of environmental, stimulants. So it's not right on our part to just blame them. Many times, even I have got hit by teenagers when I go to NGOs, but it's not in their control. It is because of some trigger in the environment which is triggering them to do that. It could be a tune in group music which they don't relate to, or it could be somebody else singing in some other pitch or some other shruti which can be irritating them, and so many other things. These are typically children who cannot tie a shoelace. They need a lot of practice. They cannot button. Yeah, so many other things. You can go through the slide. I can share this slide later. So music helps a lot for these children. One is it improves socialization, then communication. especially the receptive communication. Many times they say ASD children do not have comprehension, but it can be done through a mix of visual aids and music. It can definitely be done. Then yes, these children go through something called as meltdowns. So it helps in preventing outbursts, especially adult students. I call them as children. I'm used to calling them as children, because for them I have built in, I have given them a kind of recording kit which they can fall back on whenever they are going through meltdowns. So they use it as a coping strategy. So instead of coming and assaulting others and showing a violent behavior, they actually go back and listen to music that I have recorded either on Veena or vocal. Okay, this is a syndrome called PDD, pervasive developmental disorder. Devaki Nanda, Mukunda, Mukunda, Nigamodhara, Navanita Choraga, Nigamodhara, Navanita Choraga, Khagapati Vahana, Jagadodhara. Okay. This is Pranav now. When Pranav came in at 23, I noticed that he had exceptional skills in music, especially pitches in the minor and the major scale, identifying pitches, singing to it, transferring the whole vocal learning process to another instrument. This particular student, he doesn't require any notation, whereas my recording artists, my accompanies, even today I have to give them notations. So he's exceptionally skilled actually in music, but unfortunately he came in late. And yes, there are a lot of behavioral symptoms, sometimes inappropriate behavior, also socially inappropriate behavior, which women at this stage we cannot digest. So I have to keep intervening in a music session to control the other side of the behavior. When I notice that he's going to head into a wrong behavior, typically a behavior that I don't want to see, then I have to immediately intervene, put in my sound so that he gets reconnected to me. Okay. Yeah, so this is how, I don't want to play the entire video, it will take a long time. This is also a sensory processing disorder. This is another kind of autism. All these come under autism itself. Now, this particular child called Harshit is from the Bubble School of Autism. His father is a police officer, but he is assaulted every day with a big wooden stick. So he comes to school with a lot of bruises all over his body. But he has an innate sense to hear. However, because of his sensory difficulties, you must have noticed all the three of them. Each of them fall into a different category of autism. And it takes them that much time to give a response to us. But sometimes even getting the response, just to get him to open up his hand or relate to music takes us nearly 6 to 7 months. And he wouldn't have done it throughout his life also, because it's very difficult. It has to be done only by a professional who can understand the disorder in the way it has to be understood. This is my other student, Nandita. This student also, she came in late. She's now, I think, around 27 years. Initially, she would just bend her head. She would not even open up. She would not give me an eye contact. She would refuse to look at me because she's actually muted by the society. But this particular girl has given me so much information of what AST students actually go through. Why is it that they can't wear anything with a label? Because their tactile stimulations are very high. Why is it that they respond? Why is it that they hate crowds? Because they cannot stand smells of crowds. They are hypersensitive to it. How do they know that a train is coming away when it is a train is coming close to us, even when the train is nearly 3 to 4 kilometers away? It's pure vibrations. That's how sensitive they are. Now, after around 6 months, she could Okay. She's singing like any normal child. Had she come at an early intervention period, typically between 5 to 6 years, she could have been on any stage by now. But here I would like to tell you that in music therapy, unlike music education, we are not trying to enhance their musical skills at first. It's all the non-musical goals we are trying to achieve. So my goal in this particular student was to get her to look front and start communicating. And that was achieved. Once a social connect was possible, then the musical skill was enhanced. So that's how she's able to sing now. She's a good computer now. She can speak boldly about whatever has happened in her life. She can write a book, in fact. Yeah. One second, I'm not able to. Yeah, this is what I was talking about.
Yeah. Just a quick time check, perhaps another few minutes.
Yeah, how many minutes do we have? I'm not able to get it on my.
Actually, we just exceeded our time, but maybe another 3 or 4 minutes if you don't know.
Yeah.
How much more time would you require?
No problem. We can extend it. Don't worry.
Continue. Don't worry.
Don't worry. We are enjoying it.
Okay, I just need another 10 minutes.
Not an issue. Not an issue, and Geetha.
Yeah.
It's a very informative and very good one.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay. This is what I was telling you, neuroplasticity. Typically in individuals who are met with accidents, traumatic accidents, we have even adolescents who have fallen prey to this. So this is basically creating new pathways through music and still trying to achieve a meaningful life. And yeah, that's what I mentioned, rewiring changes, I can't into I can. Okay. This is one particular specific disorder that I have been currently working on called multiple sclerosis, which is now I would say in abundance across 35 years to 45 years. This is the age group that it is typically attacking. And unfortunately, the cases who have come to me are all from the IT sector. So what happens in this is typically your protein coating, it starts diminishing and deteriorating. And slowly the communication stops, and then one side of your body starts functioning, stops functioning, and yeah, then you would just be on bed. So a typical case that I have worked on in this connection is one Mr. Prakash. I will not be doing the videos. Mr. Prakash was from Tata IBM, and he returned back to India when he was around 35, when he was diagnosed with this disease. It's a neurobiological disorder. And yeah, the initial sittings, he had lost his communication. He was completely on bed. But I had one of my colleagues, junior colleagues, work with him, who was going to his house in Whitefield. And when she was doing her music sessions for his kids, he started responding from inside, from the bed. He started, he had lost his communication, so he was doing akara and ukara. He was humming, rather. He was humming, and he was singing in different ways. And slowly, he got onto his wheelchair after a few weeks. Then he started responding to the learning process. Initially, he would just say sa, ri, ga, ma, then in 2 syllables, sa, sa, ri, ri, ga, ga, ma, ma. Then he started reciting compositions. Then he started getting back his memory also, where he had lost. He started going through scripts on the mobile and trying to relate to the composition, the meaning of the composition, and so on. So this is, of course, I have another case who's just 19 years old, a girl also who's fallen prey into this. It's all playing together. One second. Okay, the system is hanging. 1 second. Just give me a second. I'll just move on to the next slide and then share the slide so that it's easy for you. Else it will start replay the.
No problem, doctor.
No.
Take your time.
Yeah, I just have the last.
Pleasure listening to you. So you can go on, and we'll all be listening. Okay, is the screen visible, please?
No, just 1 second. Let me see.
Okay.
Not yet.
Yeah.
No, not yet.
Okay. And yeah. This is the other end of it, where we use music for towards cancer patients and cancer survivors for pain management. And this was typically clippings of picture clippings of a session at Psycare Psycare Hospital, where I visit on call basis. So these are all some of my clients too. So the final, this would be my final slide. The whole component of music therapy or healing through music actually works through emotional intelligence. Now, if we are never able to connect with any client, it's better we don't even take up that case, because the entire process would take a very long time, and we are just messing with that particular client through trial and error method, and we are wasting his or her time. So if we do not connect emotionally, rather wear the shoes of those parents who have special needs children, then we can just cannot work on these children. So with that, I close my presentation. Of course, I have a video where Dr. James has spoken about how Indian music helps stimulates the brain, but we don't have the time for it. So I conclude with this last slide. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to create awareness. This is a huge topic. And like I said in the beginning, music is not just for the children or with special needs or patients. It's for all of us. Typically, in a phase that we are in, I think all of us need abundant music to fight our psychosocial issues. And yeah, there we are. Thanks a lot for patiently hearing to me. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, see, it's just flowing out and saying Rotarian Geetha Prasad. So I think you should consider. I was to say Dr. Geetha Bhat, and then, you know, by mistake, I said Rotarian. So I don't think it should be a mistake.
Excellent, excellent program, Geetha.
Thank you.
Very, very informative.
Thank you so much, Mami.
I don't think I can understand this much. It is really excellent.
Thank you.
I would request Rotarian Valerie George to come forward, unmute yourself, and thank Dr. Geetha Bhat on all of our behalf. Post that, I will announce the rest of the events for the day, for the evening. Sorry.
Yeah,
You'll have to unmute yourself, Valerie.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks a lot, Roshan. Thank you so much. And I should start off by saying that it's really an honor to, to say thanks to Dr. Geetha for such a wonderful, wonderful talk. It was so interesting. I could not even leave for 1 minute. I was throughout with you, Doctor. It is an amazing talk. And the way you put it forward from how the, music helps in, in growing a baby's brain right from the moment, the baby's in the womb of the stomach itself, how it helps, music helps. I think your study has been so vast and you've done it so beautifully. It has really gone into us. I could just picture everything. Building a baby's brain, working in the activity of the brain itself. Music is such a wonderful thing which we got to know, and then also the way you put forward the music which helps in the Down syndrome patients, the Alzheimer patients. I think it is a very, very valuable input you have given to us today. I really sincerely thank you. But most of all, what really struck me is your love and your patience through which you have taken all these children is a wonderful thing, I should say. You have really contributed so much to the life of these children. So thanks a lot. You have inspired us, in fact, to go ahead and do more for these kind of children, because we usually tend to forget that part, you know. We are looking at so many other things, but these children we have not really gone into. You have really been an inspiration today, Dr. Geetha. So thank you so much for that. Thank you. On behalf of my club, Kalyan, as well as Orion Gateway and Chimney, I really appreciate and thank this valuable time which you have spent with us.
Thank you. Always a pleasure. Thank you.
Yes, Roshan, back to you.
Thank you so much, Rotarian Valerie, for, well, I moved, if you guys observed, I don't know if you guys observed, I moved to another corner of my office. So this was a last minute thought. I checked with both my co-presidents if that's okay. This is what I do, and this is what my charter president Ravi Kumar does. Two bald men every day in the evening. Ravi Kumar, yeah. Every day in the evening after we finish our work, he's an auditor. I'm a trainer. All right. So what we do, end of the day, stress buster. Before we reach home, we don't go home and vent out on our family. What we do is we sit here, we play music, we sing, and then we go home. This is what we do. All right. So that keeps us young and bald. So here's a song for you all, just to keep you entertained. Yeah, we're not professional singers. We are bathroom singers, or you can also call us those kids who really don't have anything to do with raga. We will try our best to just sing one for you all. So thank you very much, everybody. I hope you guys enjoyed two bald men singing.
That was fantastic, Rotarian Roshan and Rotarian Ravi Kumar. That was amazing.
Thank you very much. So this was just to keep you all entertained so that you'll stay and our numbers increase. Now we would move on to the announcements. I would request the secretary of Orion Mall to start with the announcements of, Orion Gateway. Followed by, yeah, I missed the mall.
Roshan, now it is open. You can come anytime.
All right. So we'll start with the secretary of Orion Gateway with the announcements, followed by the secretary of Kalyan, post which it would be the secretary of Chile.
First of all, thank you, and Geetha, for such an informative and wonderful talk. It's really very informative, and many people have already asked for your number. I hope Rotarian Costa is sharing with them privately. So you will receive many calls after this. Before I come to the announcement, let me thank all the Rotarians of our club, Rotary Kalyan and Rotary Chimney Hills. Besides that, I would like to recognize the presence of Rotarian Anshu, past president from Rotary Club of Navi Mumbai Garima, District 3142, and Rotarian Suhas Apte of Thane East. The announcements, we are celebrating birthday of Rotarian Rajani on this Saturday. Many happy returns of the day, Rotarian Rajani. On 19th, she will be celebrating her birthday. She is Rotarian Rajani. And on 19th, this Saturday, from 3 to 4:30, we are having teachers training session. I request all the Rotarians from our club as well as from Chimney Hill and Kalyan to attend it. It will be from 3 o'clock to 4:30 on Zoom. We will share the link shortly. Thank you once again. That's all the announcement from our club. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir. Valerie, from Kalyan, would you be making the announcement?
Yes.
Naveen is there.
Oh, Naveen
Yes. Hi, Roshan. Dr. Geetha, thank you so very much. Such an informative session. I work in the area of behavioral transformation, and I was very keen to have some elaborations on neuroplasticity and synaptic pruning. So I think I'll connect with you separately. I think from I'd like to call this the knowledge sarovar, we were able to just sip a couple of sips from a small cup. I know the knowledge is vast and time is less, but really honored to be part of this session. Thank you so much. Announcements from Rotary Kalyan. Last week, we had distribution for an orphanage called Balya. We also had from our club, Shaila, distribute juice for people in Kolar, laborers in Kolar. Along with Rotary Manyata and Rotary Kalyan, we participated in distributing juices and dinner packets to about 300 people in Lingarajpuram area, as well as along with the club at Nandanam Colony, we distributed some toothpaste, masks, shampoos, moisturizers, immunity tablets, and gloves to the needy out there. No birthdays we are celebrating this week. So that's announcement from Kalyan. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Naveen. Thank you so much.
Rotarian Lakshmish, if you can unmute yourself.
Hello, good evening to everyone. Since there is a network problem, my video is not working. And our announcement is there was our beloved president's birthday was on 9th September last week. And another announcement is we have distributed refreshments to health corona warriors with the different health centers. And lastly, on behalf of our club, I would like to thank Dr. Geetha for her very interesting and informative sessions. And this is all the announcement from our club.
Thank you so much, Rotarian Lakshmish. I think we are at the end of the meeting, but then we still, it is still not done. I don't know. I somehow have that feeling. It was such a beautiful voice to listen to, and it was like, please go on. Don't stop. Just go on. We want to know more. But then I feel, this is a request, and I think I'm sure everybody else has that on their mind. Dr. Geetha, if you can sing something for us, that would be a takeaway for us.
That's amazing, Roshan.
Just sing something for us. That's a takeaway, and we'll get, all of us will, sleep like your children, nice and peacefully tonight. Sing something.
Now I pass on your request to my better half.
You can go and mute yourself. You will all mute, and you both can sing.
Yes.
Yeah, let me mute all except these two.
Yes.
Either Kahidur or whatever.
No, you have to sing. I will be your. Geetha, I think you have to sing. I will be supporting actor. Hello, Geetha?
Geetha ma'am, please unmute yourself.
Yeah. Are you singing, Kaustu?
I will follow your orders, but better if you join me.
No, he is from a country of music which can reach to all of you. That's the reason I'm saying. Go on, Kahidur or something. Fast.
Okay,
I think you're holding
in the interest of time.
Yeah.
कहीं दूर जब दिन ढल जाए सांझ की दुल्हन बदन चुराए चुपके से आए मेरे ख्यालों के आंगन में कोई सपनों के दीप जलाए कहीं दूर जब दिन ढल जाए सांझ की दुल्हन बदन चुराए चुपके से आए कभी यूं ही जब हुई बोझल सांसें भर आई बैठे जब यूं ही आंखें तभी मचल के प्यार से चल के छुए कोई मुझे पर नजर न आए कहीं दूर जब दिन ढल जाए सांझ की दुल्हन बदन चुराए चुपके से आए Thank you.
Wonderful.
That was amazing.
Wonderful.
Whose voice was it that one fell in love with?
Superb.
Lovely. That was really lovely.
My wife fell in
now
love
it's
with
your
me.
turn.
To tell you the truth, my wife fell in love with me because I looked like Madhavan apparently.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Geetha ma'am, it was really a wonderful session, and it was amazing having you today as a guest speaker, and a very thoughtful and insightful session. I would like to add that. And all of us will agree with me when I say that we felt the divinity in us after we heard you sing in the session. And we feel music is life itself. Thank you so much for making us feel that way today. I just would like to ask Roshan if anything else is there, or we could go ahead with ending the meeting.
There's just one thing we would love to listen to Geetha, Dr. Geetha sing, but then that's okay, no problem. We can end.
Just one stranger, please. One
Yes,
para.
just one
Yes,
stanza.
one.
You would make our evening.
No, I sing only classical. Is it okay with
That's
you?
what
Yeah,
we
yeah,
want
it's
to
okay.
hear.
That's fine.
We
That's
want
fine.
to listen to you sing.
Yeah.
I don't know how I sound there. Anyway, I will try to give it my best. Devaki Nanda Mukunda, Devaki Nanda Mukunda, Mukunda Nigamodharaga Navanita Choraga Nigamodharaga Navanita Choraga Khagapati Vahana Jagadodhara Devaki Nanda Mukunda Shankha-chakra-dhara Shri Gopala Shankha-chakra-dhara Shri Gopala Pankajalochana Paramananda Pankajalochana Paramananda Devaki Nanda Mukunda Valravela Pura Channa Prasanna Valravela Pura Channa Prasanna Purandara Vitala Sakala Guna Purna Purandara Vitala Sakala Guna Purna Devaki Nanda Mukunda Mukunda Nigamodharaga Nabhanita Choraga Khagapati Vahana Jagadodhara Devaki Nanda Mukunda. Thank you.
Oh, lovely.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so
ಮ್ಯಾಮ್
much.
ತುಂಬಾ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿತ್ತು ಮ್ಯಾಮ್. ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು.
Superb.
Thank
You
you.
just made our day.
Yes.
Thank you.
Everybody is going to become Mukunda and going to sleep very.
I know.
Thanks to you, man. Thanks to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr.
All right, so
Geetha.
we can uncollar our self-presidents and then call the meeting to an end.
Anu, that's why I said music is divine.
It is indeed.
Hello, Satish sir. Welcome. Good evening.
Good evening, good evening.
We recognize the presence of our Lieutenant Governor Rotarian Satish B.E.
Oh, how I missed it.
Yes,
Sorry, Rotarian Satish B, because there were 64 participants.
No.
And we were lost in
we
Geetha
consider
ma'am's.
you as our part only.
Yeah.
Today it was a musical program, so it's something fantastic.
Yeah. Thank you.
I hope everybody enjoyed today's meet, the talk, and the two ballmen singing.
Yes, we did enjoy Roshan and
Roshan, we would
Ravi's
like to hear you once again someday.
Yes.
Definitely, we will have a
Sure,
full
sir,
1 hour
sure.
program listening to your music.
In fact, me and Ravi go to a couple of orphanages and old age homes. We just go sing for them and come back because they don't need food, they don't need anything else. They like music. We go there and we come back.
So whenever you are going next time, take me also.
Sure,
I will also
we'll
listen
join
to
you.
We'll all join you, Roshan.
Yeah.
Sure. We'll do that. Sure.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Anu. Thanks to you. Thanks
Bye,
to you,
Valerie.
Roshan,
Thank
and
you.
thanks
Thank you.
to all
Let's
of you.
uncolor ourselves and call the meeting.
Yeah.
If somebody could.
Meeting adjourned, no? Then remove the call.
I'm sorry, ma'am. My gong is on the other side. You'll have to do it.
Meeting adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you to everyone.
Good
nice
night.
Enjoy your day. Bye, Geetha madam. Thank you. Bye. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye. Good night.
Thank you, ma'am. Bye.
Enjoy your evening.
Good
Bye,
night.
Rajni.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.
Bye,
Andrea.
Roshan. Bye, Valerie.
Thank you so much.
Bye, Valerie.
Thank you.
Yeah, bye-bye. Bye, Roshan. See you.
Bye.
Thanks
Thank
to
you.
all my club members as well. Special thanks to them.
Yes, thanks to everyone for attending this wonderful
Yeah,
session.
absolutely. Bye-bye. Good evening. Good night.
Bye. Bye.